Hello, everyone.
Yeah.
Hi, John.
Hi, John.
Yeah.
Hey, John.
Are we live streaming now, Michelle? She's not answering.
Yes, you are.
Okay. Well, it's 6:30, so let's call this regular council meeting to order on August 18th. Jenny, roll call.
Ben,
Here.
Marty,
Here.
Scott,
Here.
Paula,
Here.
Matt.
Here.
Okay, we'll forego the Pledge of Allegiance unless everybody wants to stand up and chop off their heads. Moment of silence for Marilyn Stewart, Daniel Gonzi, Veronica Wahojas, and I finally remembered the fourth one, Jenny, Connie Nuns.
Yes.
So a moment of silence for those. Okay, we'll move on to council. I'll open it up to you. We have Tammy Myers and Wes Hawkins with us for you to ask questions you want to ask. So Paula, you want to start?
Sure. In both of your letters of interest, you indicated you wanted to be part of the building the future of Mantua, and in order to retain its past, preserve its past, the small town atmosphere. What could or should we be doing to build for the future of Mantua? Tammy, you want to start?
Yeah, I'll start. I think I said before, I think we need to attract younger families. As the community ages, we need to find ways to bring in a younger, to keep the town alive, basically, just bring those younger families that will fill the schools, that will, frequent the businesses, all that. We need to bring in families.
Okay, thank you. Wes?
Hi, Paula. Thank you for the question. Preserving the historic nature of the downtown is something that I've championed for over a decade now. Those of you who have worked with me on planning, Board of Zoning Appeals, that's something that I've worked aggressively to do. Just recently, to give you not something that we should be doing, but something that we are doing right now, we're looking at our site plan reviews. We're looking at how we need to ensure that the new construction is in with like nature of the building surrounding it. Right now we have a point system, they get 2-3 points for having a certain type of pitch to their roof, or, an on down the line, there's a whole lineup. We're working in planning right now to make sure that we have a more hands-on control, that if a big box store were to come into the village, that we would be able to not dictate to them, but help them understand how our planning is structured. So that's one thing that we're looking at. Also, when we look at signage, you can have a beautiful downtown, but if it's littered up and down the main historic district with signs that are backlit, signs that don't go off when they're supposed to, moving signs, you're fighting against yourself. So we've been taking a look and working with signs, for a long time within planning. And I can go, even further if you'd like, but that's one of my key issues. And like I said, I'm part of the Board of Zoning Appeals. That's something that we weigh very heavily on, and then also through planning.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Ben, how about you?
You want me? You want my? Okay. I'm going to ask both of you the same question. What is your opinion of what's the thing that you should do when you're a council person?
Well, Wes, you want me to go first? I'll go first. Ben, thanks. For the
Either
question.
way.
I'll take it. I think you have to listen to the constituents. You have to listen to the other members. You have to come in without an agenda and listen to what everyone else has to say and take that. It's not just about you. It's not just about what affects your street, your home, your small area of Mantua. It's what affects everybody in the community.
Okay.
Wes.
All right, I just want to jump in there. All right, so I'm in a unique position in that I've been serving the village for almost 2 decades now, over 18 years. I've served as a councilman. I've been the chairman of the Finance Committee, Income Tax Committee, Safety and Parks Committee. I've been on the Planning, Shade Tree, and Board of Zoning Appeals, right? So I have an in-depth understanding of what it means to be a council member and the commitment of the committees. But to dial in on that even deeper, when I was a council member, one thing I would do regularly is go meet with the citizens, understand their goals, their visions for the village, understand what their concerns are, bring that back to the committees that you're in, draft a gem of a legislation, funnel that up through council, and then watch that legislation help accomplish the goals and dreams of your neighbors. I don't think there's anything better of being a council member than having a citizen, one of your friends or neighbors, bring a concern, addressing that concern, and then being able to work through it. And then, also more specifically on the committee side, it's being able to go have an open dialogue. When Scott brought up the rental inspections, I was hesitant. It was something that I wasn't necessarily looking forward to. We had open conversations in the committee. We discussed it. You have a legislation today that says that we have rental inspections because we were able to get beyond our own goals, come together, and draft a piece of legislation that we're proud of.
Well said. Okay, I'll go next. For both of you, and Tammy, you go first. Ladies first. What do you, I know you both have been watching us. Tammy's gone through this once before. Wes, you and I have worked together for years and years. Mm-hmm. And so I know how well you're affiliated with the village and the council. What do you feel would be one of the first things you would tackle coming on the council? What are we doing that maybe the 5 of us right now can't see that we're doing wrong? Do either of you see something that we lack that you could help us with?
That's a great question. I can't say, let's say as a citizen, I would love to see council members out in the community more often, out in.
Sorry, I'm not sure.
Sorry, my Alexa just answered. She's not sure about that. But I think having council members out more readily available in the community. As you're always hesitant to pick up the phone and call somebody and be a complainer, mm-hmm. But it would be nice if we had council members available. Hey, we're in the park this days, we're at the park lodge. Come in, talk, sit down and have a chat. Maybe bring some friends, whatever. I would love to see that happen and be more accessible.
Okay, be more accessible. What else?
Let me get out my list here. Hold on.
We're going to do it from memory.
Let's do it from memory, right? So, things that I'd like to tackle, things that we haven't necessarily addressed, but I think that we've talked about it. We've in committee, just various committees. But we're a Tree City, USA, right? Sure. One of the things that we need to do is get back to that. We have when you walk downtown, we have all these cutouts where the sidewalks made room for trees, but we have no trees. Mm-hmm. That's a concern of mine. Sidewalks. We're in a community where you can walk to events. When there's art on the hill, when there's somebody playing for the coffee shop, people want to walk down from the village into those spots. but they better get back before dark because some of our sidewalks are at 45-degree angles, right? And they're the same sidewalks that I used to ramp my bike off of when I was a kid.
Mhm.
So we need to make sure that we're addressing the aesthetics of the village, the sidewalks, the trees. When somebody drives through the village, or let me put it this way, when you talk to somebody that's outside of the village and they know enough to say it's Manaway, not Mantua, the only other thing they know is that they have a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit, right? I
Right.
want them to know that we have amazing trails. I want them to know that we have a beautiful park that butts right next to the Cuyahoga River. But Ashley and I and the kids went down to the park today, and we have weeds that were up to Logan's shoulders, my 4-year-olds. You know, that's a concern. That's something that we need to address. We have picnic tables that didn't have boards on them where you couldn't sit. There's a brick structure down there that looks like it's in the middle of a war zone.
Yeah.
When somebody drives through the village, I want them to know more about the village than the speed limit. And most of that's going to come through aesthetics. We have traffic coming from 422 to 80. We did a plan when we were on planning of the traffic patterns. And it's amazing how many cars we have through there. We need to capitalize aesthetically so that they do stop, that they do get out of their cars, that they do walk around. Because right now, I think when somebody says, let's go to the park, they're either thinking Sunny Lake or the park in Ravenna. I don't think they're thinking of the village. So that's something that I would absolutely address.
Okay. Thank you both. Those are great answers. Thank you. Matt, how about you, bud?
Okay. I have 3 questions. A bonus question for Wes, and
Sure.
then a question for council, if that's okay.
Wow.
Usually a bonus question. Do I get extra points if I answer it, or how does it work?
Well, who started last time? Tammy?
Yeah.
No, I'll just alternate. So Wes will take this first question.
Sounds great.
How's that? So what's very simple. What's your favorite thing about Manaway?
The citizens, absolutely, without hesitation, without waiting. The community that we have here is second to none, right? Whenever we have Art on the Hill, when everybody gets together, you know, we're able to come together as a community. The neighbors here, you know, I've lived throughout the village, and no matter where you are or where you stop, the citizens are amazing. One thing I like is I don't have to hold my breath when the kids go out of sight as they ride their bikes down the sidewalk, because I've known these people my whole life. You know, it's not, so that's the community.
Yeah, very good. Tammy, same question?
Well, and I'm going to answer the same but different than Wes, because I'm a transplant. I've lived all over the United States, and we chose Manaway because of the feel of the community. And we lived in Shalersville for a year before we purchased here in Manaway, but we had come from Washington State, Vermont, North Carolina, California, and we chose Manaway because of the people, because of this unique small town atmosphere that we couldn't get anywhere else. And the exact same reason Wes said he could let his kids out. Nobody knew our kids when they were little. Nobody knew us, but people would know, oh, that's the Meyer kids, you know? And so that is why we fell in love, and then why we've stayed for 20 years. And so so I have the same answer, just a little tweak different from a different view.
Very good. Very good. Thank you. All right. I'm sorry. So I'll give you this next question first. All right.
Okay.
So kind of the opposite. What's your least favorite thing about Manaway?
I hate the empty storefronts. I hate going downtown and seeing all the empty storefronts. That probably is the biggest hurt to me, is to see that it's not a vibrant downtown. Boy, having the coffee shop, wonderful. Having Chase or Middlefield come in the Chase building, fantastic, bringing that back. But when they sat empty, that was really hard. And I'm looking forward to the meat shop being filled again. You know, it'd be great if Mockney's building got filled, you know, and just start bringing those things in. I think that would be, but that's the biggest thing, I think, because that is such a big part of downtown. Main Street, you know, those empty buildings are the biggest, my biggest concern.
Okay, very good. Wes?
Yeah, absolutely, the empty storefronts, but I'll go a step further and, you know, to piggyback off what I said earlier, a lot of missed opportunity within the village, a lot of things that we could help these storefronts by having people stop. If we did the aesthetics, if we made those things pop, I think people would stop. We only need a small fraction of the traffic up and down 44 to stop, but we're not getting it. So I think that, you know, that we have the whole chicken and the egg. I think that we need to make people want to stop, and once they stop, we'll have storefronts that are filled.
Understood. Very good. Thank you. Okay, third question. We'll start with you. Why do you want to be a Mantua Village Council person, or what is your own? What was your personal motivation for wanting to pen that letter to apply for this position?
Starting with me?
Yes.
All right. You know, I know that it's something that I've done well, and I've been in the committees. I see the opportunity to be impactful for the village. I see that that the ideas that I have within the committees, I can advance further through council. So it's the next logical progression for myself through the committees. That's my main goal. Being able to take, like I said, the concerns of the citizens, their not only concerns but their hopes and dreams, take it through the committee, but also be a part of the deciding factor within council. That's my reasoning for wanting to be on council.
Okay, very good. Tammy?
So I come from a long line of family service members that serve the community. My father was a community member. My mother, my kids are in the military. I supported the band for 10 years and worked with the band at the high school. Those kids were my passion. And 5 years after my kids left, I was still in the band. And now it's just this, it's come time to where I'm in a position where now this is the next step for me. Council's the next thing that I need that to serve the community and make this a better place. This is what I would like to do. This is where I think I could find a home and making things correct. Not correct, making things, you know, that better and making a difference.
Yep. Okay, very good. Thank you. Okay, bonus question for Wes. And I don't mean to put you on the spot.
You're
okay.
fine.
It's just because I don't have any prior knowledge of anything. Okay, so I'm just just want to know from my own personal knowledge. Is you're on the council before in the past. Why aren't you a member of the council anymore? Like why did you stop being a member of the council? I guess.
So I guess that's a good question. So I was a member of the council during college, right? So all the way through college, as a member of the council, served on the committees. Still, you know, the service to the council never stopped. But while I was building a career, while I was starting a family, it slimmed down a little bit, if you will. My focus was more on after college, getting structured, getting set up. Now that I'm a CPA, MBA, PFS, been in the financial industry for 18 years, you know, after that, then it's time for me to revisit.
Yeah, understood. Totally. All right, cool. And just the quick question for the rest of the council. Both of these candidates have strong financial backgrounds, and I'm on the finance committee. So, you know, I guess I would say I have a mentality of a good football coach, in that you kind of fit the system to the players that are on the team instead of trying to, you know, fit the team to the, you know what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
So would it be like
You ask for help?
like, for example, if one of these two could take my place in the finance committee because they have such a strong financial background, and I would take the place on like Dave's, you know, old committee, wherever that was, I forgot
It was planning.
planning. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, planning.
Dave was
Planning, finance.
Yeah, he was on finance. Dave was on finance. He was an alternate on safety, and then he was also on planning.
I think he was.
Oh, he was.
Well, you know, that's not part of the interview. I don't.
No, it was just
we
a
can
quick
talk
question.
about that.
Yeah. I just wanted to throw that. I just wanted to throw that out there because we have two strong candidates.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't want to talk about the procedure, but I just want to see if that was possible. That's all. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Very good. All right. That's all I had. Thank you, everybody.
Can I
Thank you
just
for joining.
add something? Can I add something to Wes's bone? When Wes first got on council, I ran against him and lost to 12 votes to him.
Oh, did you?
Oh, did
It's a
you?
small world. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, 12. Tell me how I don't remember that. 12 votes. Yeah, that was the
Wow.
So
Yeah.
that's all those years ago.
Yeah,
But then
yeah,
my
that's
family,
amazing.
know,
I didn't realize that.
that's fine. No, why would you? Why would you remember that? The loser remembers. The winner's like, you know. So I just had to add that to Matt's question why he's not on council anymore. So
Thank you.
Matt, to further your question, everyone will stay on the same committees. The new person will fill Dave's seat for the balance of this year.
Gotcha. Cool.
The answer.
Marty, questions?
I think all of my questions have been answered.
Okay, anyone else have additional questions?
Sure.
oh, that's going.
What not? Why not? You know, Matt, you just spit all yours out at once. I thought we were moving this around. One of my questions is what can the village do? What can we on council and the village administration do to make the village more attractive for businesses? Because as both of you have said, seeing the empty storefronts, it hurts, not just downtown, but along 44. What can we do? Wes, can we do?
Make it, like I said, we have a huge amount of traffic that runs through the village. We need to make it a place where we want to stop. We need to make it a place to where, like I said before, people know us other than the 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. We need to make it a destination town. That's first and foremost. We need to also work with the business owners. When we have site plan reviews that come through, we're very willing to work with them. We stop what we're doing. We walk them through step by step by step by step, making sure they understand exactly what they need to do. And so from the genesis, making it to where if a percentage of what comes through the village stops, there's going to be storefronts. We have to make it to where they want to stop. And when we need to have more new construction come in, have a site plan process that's set up, ready for them. And like I said, on planning, we've already walked numerous businesses through. We've stopped and gone line by line with them. So it's something that we're already doing. But it's also, I would say stopping into the businesses, having that conversation. How are you guys doing? How has COVID impacted you? Is there anything that you need from us? I think that would be key as well.
Okay, Tammy.
And I hate to do this, I'm going to piggyback on Wes and then add that that I think we need to have business owners involved with the new businesses that want to come in. Have them talking to them, telling them how wonderful, how things work and how they're in Mantua, and kind of maybe setting up a buddy system, that so that new businesses can partner with old businesses and kind of get together and be part of everything. Maybe the fire department talks to them, maybe the police department talks to them, here's our procedures, and kind of just brings those, if we have a packet that goes out to prospective tenants, that'd be wonderful. Saying, here's the key leaders, here's who you can talk to. And bring that personable aspect that we want you.
Okay, very good. Thank you. And does anybody else? Because otherwise I have another one.
Go for it.
If there was one thing you could change in the village, what would that be? And Wes, it cannot be the aesthetics. That's come up on every other one. So you got to come up with a new idea on this. What would be one thing you could change in the village? What would it be? Tammy, would you go first?
Sure. Infrastructure. I think we need better infrastructure here in the village. Water and sewer, how often do we see a line down that affects another line that affects, we need to know where the shutoff valves are. We need to shut, just those simple things that I've had to deal with here, just on my street, as well as throughout the rest of the village. I think that needs to be the biggest improvement we need to do is the infrastructure, because that will drive business coming in,
Okay, thank you. Wes.
So aging infrastructure, water and sewer is obviously a concern. One of the concerns, the percentage of rentals to personal home ownership is a concern of mine. And as the property values increase through aesthetics, not just joking there, Paula, but as property values do increase, we're going to get to a point to where we can, it doesn't make sense to have the village be a rental town. When you can buy 2 or 3 properties for the price that you can buy a house for in the village, the rental percentage is going to drop. We've already started tackling that through the planning commission. We came up with the rental inspection. That's current legislation. That's something that's a problem that we have and how we addressed it. And then revenue. Obviously, when you go through and you take a look at the budget, you take a look at income and expenses. I'm not going to pretend now to have a silver bullet on how to fix that. But when you do look at and address these issues, you do want somebody that has experience on the committees, chairing the finance and the income tax committees, being a CPA. Really, one thing that I would like to do is do a deep dive through the budgetary process and the appropriations.
Okay, thank you. I'm done.
Ben, any more questions?
No, I'm fine.
I'm good.
Not?
Matt, you good?
Nope, I'm good. Thank you. Sorry, couldn't mute.
Okay, thank you all. So I guess, should we do this like we did last time, Michelle, and just have everybody voice who their choice is?
I thought last time, wasn't there a recess to discuss or something?
Yes,
Yeah, there was recess last time.
Okay,
last time we had an executive session
Session,
for
executive
appointment
session,
of a
yes.
public official, which would be the official reason. We can do that tonight.
okay. Paula, would you like to make a motion to
I
go?
would like to make a motion that council goes into an executive session to review the applicant's responses.
I will second that.
Ben,
Yes,
Scott,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes,
Matt,
Yes.
Marty.
Yes.
We'll be back with you in a few.
okay.
I got a question. Are the 2 applicants still on watching?
Yes.
Yes, they're still watching. Michelle, can you take us into executive session?
Yes, I was just going to ask, is the mayor coming in too? I haven't sorted this out.
Mayor.
I would think it's council's decision at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So Ben, is your question for us or for council in general?
For
Yeah.
council in general?
Okay.
Okay, well, I'm going to open out the executive session for the 5 council members then. And I'll join you in a second, just so I know when you guys want to exit. Unless you don't want me in there, and then you can just press the exit button yourselves. Up to you.
You can be there.
You can be there.
You can't trust us to do that.
Oh, you guys can press an exit button. All right, here you go.
She's good. Good thing I'm not in charge. We'd be in a mess.
Yeah. So it's starting to get darker earlier. This is one part of fall that I'm not a big fan of. I'm not looking forward to fall. Summer seemed to fly by this year.
You would think with the COVID, it wouldn't have. You would have thought it would have been dragging.
I'm ready for the boys to go back to school, though. I guess they're starting remotely for the first semester, so through September or through December, rather.
I wondered if that had changed or not, because first they were going to meet in person, and then those that wanted to do online unmute yourself and you can join in.
Joe's got his hand up. He's like in school.
Jump in, Joe.
Okay, I'll cover it when it comes around, but SRO, Dunn, and myself, we did meet with the superintendent the other day. And right now, out of about 1,600 students in the district, 280, I believe is the number, about 18%, chose to do online schooling.
Okay.
And when they made a decision whether they wanted to be in the building or online, they have to commit for the full semester. And I want to say the date's somewhere around January 13th.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So we're going to do that. They talked about no busing for the high school. Then they don't know if that's going to work or not. But they're still going to have 2 bus runs, one for the village schools in the morning, and then they'll make a second run for the elementary. Supposed to be everybody wearing masks, 2 kids to a seat, social distancing when possible. All the desks have the dividers on them. And then what's that?
You know how busing is going to work for biomed?
I do not. We didn't even cover biomed.
Yeah.
I know that what he had said is if the governor shuts us down for some reason, once we get going, then everybody would go to online. And then if once we would open back up, say we'd open back up before the semester was out, the only ones that can come back into the building are the ones that originally chose to be in the building. So you can't change your mind in the middle of a semester.
Right. Yeah.
And then they were still meeting on that. They're trying to still finalize everything.
Well, you know, it seems like technology's finally caught up with homeschooling. You know, you used to do homeschooling and just have a packet. But Logan, my 4-year-old, was having a Skype call with all of his classmates.
I homeschooled when we lived in Washington State, and it wasn't a packet. You know, we had all the books. We had a classroom.
Right.
We had a community of other, people that taught other things you weren't good at. It was so homeschooling works.
It is going to be masked K through 12.
See,
so I think the teachers are going to struggle. I don't know if kids have hearing disabilities. How are they going to hear the teacher if they have a mask on? This is going to be something that I don't know that we could have prepared for.
Yeah. See, for the little ones, I think the masks are almost worse because he'll drop his, put it back on his face. He'll shoot it across the room like it's a rubber band. And like, man, you're a lot.
They're gonna draw a smiley face on it and say, "Here, wear my mask."
Yeah.
That's what kids do, and it's going to be a challenge. You're going to find masks all over the buildings, I think, but I mean, it's going to be a challenge. But I think they're encouraging parents to start getting their kids used to the mask already. That way, it's less painful when they start up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what our meeting was last Wednesday, and I said that they're looking to go the day after Labor Day, so it'll be September 8th. And then I told him I would get with him probably that Wednesday or Thursday before, because it could probably change 3 or 4 more times between now and then.
Sure. No, that's going to be a nightmare.
And then what do you do if the teacher ends up having symptoms and she's got 15 or 18 kids in her class? Right. From what they were saying, I don't think the high schoolers may have lockers. They're looking at somehow trying to keep them more efficient from going to their locker in between classes. Like they come in, the school did get 2 of those frame temperature scanners like the hospitals have. And when you or the back, I mean, it just reads the temperature. And I asked about if it stored the data. It does not. So we don't have to worry about that part of it. It just instantly reads their temperatures. So they'll come into that and then they'll go right to their first period class.
Well, then, they really should be in a paperless environment at this stage. I mean, for Liam, we had to buy him a laptop so he's in 2nd grade, So
I know they got more Chromebooks, and
right.
They were talking about every kid possibly having their own Chromebook and putting up Wi-Fi hotspots or something on school property to where if these kids can't get the internet from home, at least they can come onto the property or get close to the school and be able to do their schoolwork and get their assignments.
I mean,
hey, Mayor, I'm sorry to interrupt. Mayor, I need to duck away. I didn't know this is going extended. It's my granddaughter's birthday. They're celebrating down there. So I'll come
What do we
back.
have? Are we invited?
No, sorry, Joe.
Their cake?
Just take us with you.
No, but
Yeah.
I'll stay on if I'll stay on. They're doing something. I'll come. If this is going to be an extended meeting, I'll
It's
come.
probably going to be an extended meeting. We can just read your report. Maybe, let's see, it's 7 o'clock. Maybe pop back in 8:15, and we can
Okay.
do your, well.
I will. Thank you. Thanks.
If we're gone, we're gone.
Thanks.
He drove for 6 hours to his grandson for the birthday.
Oh,
Oh,
sport for being on for as long as he was.
Yeah.
we should have just let him go first.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask that as soon as we get done with all this.
Wait,
I
is
was-
it my granddaughter's birthday? Oh, wait, I don't have a granddaughter. I can't use that one.
My son called me from Guam and I was like, I have to go. I have a meeting. Like, I can't chat with you.
Yeah, I want to go with him. Tomorrow's my birthday, so I wish I could go with him.
Happy birthday.
Happy early birthday.
You have to remind it. Are you going to be at the meeting tomorrow?
Yes, I'll be at the meeting tomorrow.
Yep.
That's a hint that he expects birthday cake or something.
No, I'm on a keto diet. No cake.
Okay. All right.
I'd like to make a motion that we come out of executive session.
I will
Second.
second that.
Marty,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Ben.
Yes.
All right. At this point, I guess we're ready to go ahead for the vote on the next council member.
We're ready to make a motion to vote on the next council
Okay.
member.
And you're doing that, right, Matt, Ben? I'll
Yes.
second Ben's motion.
Okay, Scott,
Wes.
Paula,
Tammy.
Matt,
Tammy.
Marty,
Tammy.
Ben.
Abby.
Well,
Okay.
congratulations, Tammy.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Thank you.
So our next order of business is I get to swear Tammy in. So, wait a minute, let me unmute. Okay, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay.
So I'm going to drop off then.
Okay,
Thanks, Wes.
thank you so much, Wes.
Yep. Thanks, Wes.
Thank you, Wes.
Thank you, Wes.
Okay. So Tammy, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I'll go slow. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the laws and ordinances of the Village of Manaway,
and the laws and ordinances of the Village of Manaway,
and that I will honestly,
and that I will honestly,
faithfully, and impartially
faithfully, and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of council member for the Village of Manaway, Ohio,
of council member for the Village of Manaway, Ohio,
for so long as I shall continue in office.
for so long as I shall continue in office.
Very good. Congratulations.
Thank you, everybody.
Congratulations.
Oh, congratulations.
Welcome aboard, Tammy.
Thank you.
Okay, the next order of business would be to appoint a president of council to replace Dave as council president.
I'll nominate Matt.
Second.
Any other nominations?
I'll nominate Paula.
Any other nominations?
Did anybody second Tammy's nomination.
I second it.
You don't actually need seconds for
I
this.
don't, I didn't
But
think.
that's okay. I mean, either way.
Okay.
Any other nominations? Okay, we'll move on. Michelle, if I recall, last time everybody just went around and said their choice, or did we actually, Jenny, call a roll?
I think Jenny would call the roll and each member would state their preference.
Okay, thank you.
Tammy,
Paula,
Marty,
Matt,
Scott,
Matt,
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 Paula,
Paula,
Ben.
Tammy.
This is for Matt or Paula for council president.
He said Tammy, didn't you, Matt, or Ben?
Yeah, I did.
okay.
So it looks like it's 3-3.
Tammy wasn't nominated.
Yeah, you have to pick between Matt and Paula.
All right, Paula.
Okay, so we have a tie vote, Michelle.
Yes, you do. Looks like the mayor gets to break the tie.
It'll be Matt.
Congratulations, Matt.
hey, thank you very much, everyone. Really
All right.
appreciate it.
Thank
yeah,
you.
you're saying that now.
Okay, and Rich has left the meeting. He's gonna come back about 8 o'clock. Hopefully we'll be gone. If not, then he'll give his report then. He traveled 6 hours to go to his grandson's birthday party today, so that's why he kept floating in and out. So if we move along here, motion to accept the July 21st regular council meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second,
Paula,
yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Tammy,
I'm abstaining.
Ben,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Scott.
yes.
Okay, motion to approve the special council meeting minutes from July 29th at 6:30.
I have one
So
change,
moved.
and that has to do with the Garage Creative Studios. And I am the abbreviation, what do you call it? Bad person. And in there it says, in the second to the last sentence, the B&H building. Well, we all know it's Benner and Hummel, but in some point in the future, there may not be, and it is an abbreviation. We could, I would like it to say the old livery on East Prospect, currently owned by Benner and Hummel.
But it's owned by B&H Rental
B&H?
Property. Yes, yes, it actually is B&H is the name of the company.
Okay, so that's the full name.
Correct.
Okay, then let's just,
B&H Rental Properties.
then if we could identify it as the old livery on East Prospect, owned by B&H. B&H, what was the rest of the name?
Rental Properties.
Rental Properties.
Yes.
Well, my question would be is I thought the livery was where Eddie's bike shop was.
It is.
Well, this is
That's-
white building on the same side as the granary. It's on the south side of East Prospect between Manaway Grain and Tom Aldrich.
That's
it's
the
not
building they're
livery.
looking at?
That's the one they're looking at.
It's not the livery which is across from the granary?
No, it's down, it's next to it.
Okay. And so what do they refer to that as in the past?
Manaway Grain building number 8 or whatever number is on the outside of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
remember what the number is, but I know they all had numbers.
All right, then, building number 8 on East Prospect Street.
Well, like I say, I'm not sure it's number 8.
Well, and B&H referred to it as the livery, just as part of the livery.
Delivery?
Yeah,
Part of
the
the
B&H just assumes it's just part of the livery
Okay.
in B&H's terms. I mean,
Okay.
So what is the official change for the minutes?
No idea.
Old livery on East Prospect, currently owned by B&H Rentals.
Thank you.
Is there a second?
Second.
Scott,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Tammy,
Dane,
Matt,
Yes.
Ben.
Yes. Tammy, you can vote on this. You're a member of council now.
but I haven't seen the minutes.
She doesn't have them in front, yeah.
I don't have them in front
You
of
don't
me.
have to see the minutes. You just heard it.
Okay, that was a motion to amend it. So motion to approve is amended, so Jenny can redo it and we can get them signed.
I move to approve the minutes for the special council meeting as amended.
Thank
So
you.
moved. Second.
Ben,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Tammy,
Abstain.
Paula,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Okay, mayor's report. Because I knew we were going to be busy, I don't have a whole lot. We will be talking about Canada Road under new business. And I do have, it was in your packet, on the Booker Park Phase 2. It's finally been bid out. Rich had shown everybody last month the sheet of the breakdown. And it said $5,000 for engineering, design, whatever. And he has only submitted a work authorization for $4,000. Can I get an approval for that additional $1,000?
So moved.
Second.
Tammy,
Abstain. I don't see any of this.
Paula,
I'm not, no.
Matt,
Yes.
Ben,
No.
Marty,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, that's all I have for that. Are there any citizens out there with questions, Michelle?
Nobody's sent me any emails yet. So no, nothing yet.
Okay. Jenny, financial reports?
Okay, I'll give you the updates to our tax receipts compared to this time last year. This time as of August 17th, not July 31st. Our property taxes are up $956. Income tax overall is up $11,761. Individual and net profit business taxes are up $42,000, but employer withholdings are down $30,000. Local government funds are down about $53. Road levy taxes are up $2,165. Gas tax is up $18,634. License tax is down a lot, like $27,775. And I have no explanation for this. We usually get a large check in the fall, so I'm going to keep you posted. Hopefully we'll get that caught up. And permissive tax is down $941. So what I'm saying here is that we're really not doing that badly, considering the pandemic and everything. A lot of places are really getting crushed, and I think we're holding our own. But that's the update on that. And you all got the financial reports, except Tammy. I apologize.
How did you know?
So did anybody have any questions?
No.
So the license registration one's just a little perplexing to me, just because is there a bunch of cars sitting around with expired plates?
Exactly. That's
Right.
what's so funny.
Yeah,
about
they
it.
didn't have to because
Yeah.
of COVID. They didn't have to get them
Yeah,
renewed.
you got some kind of extension or something on
Yeah.
it, so.
Yeah, I did
Gotcha.
see
Yeah,
temporary
yeah.
plates today that expired in April, and I thought that was strange. So I guess that's why.
Yeah, it makes sense now. Okay.
What is it, Joe? What's the extension?
They were kind of told us to pick our battles at that time. A lot of places, some police departments are going after more than 90 days. We were looking at if they were expired before March, we're citing them for expired plates. Because
Okay.
if it's after March, we know that you got to make appointments for the B&B, but we're pushing everybody to go online because you're actually getting them quicker if you go
Right.
online. Or we're starting to see people doing it. So the next cycle, we should start to see some income.
Okay.
People are finally, some people just refuse to use a computer and they want to go, but I mean, they only want one person in there at a time. So it's a very slow process if you go to the B&B.
Yeah. Cool.
Fair enough.
That's all I have.
Hey, Joe, can you renew your license online? If you're coming up for your license renewal, can you
I
do
don't
that?
think so because if you're going to do that international one, you've got to take the documents, plus they're going to have to take your photo. I don't know of anybody that's renewed their driver's license in person online. I believe you have to show up in person.
Okay, that's good.
You're going to have to turn in your old license when you do that.
Yep.
Motion to approve the financial report?
I moved.
Second,
Marty,
Yes.
Paula,
yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Tammy,
Abstain.
Scott.
Yes.
Okay, Jenny, you have any correspondence?
Nope, not this time.
Okay. We did have a walk through the village with Mark Hammer from that Creative Garage Film Company. Former Chief Booker took him on the tour. They were very impressed, and he said he'd be getting back with us in a couple weeks. So that's the only correspondence I had. Bills of resolution and addendum bills of resolution. Any questions?
Yes, I had one question. On the bills of resolutions, STEM contracting for recycled concrete was $50.96. And on the addendum bills of resolution, STEM contracting recycled concrete for the same amount. Was that a double entry?
Oh, wow. I think so. I'm looking in my folder here.
Okay.
It is, Paula. There's only one invoice here, so yeah, we'll
Okay.
strike the one on the addendum.
All right.
Any other discussion on the bills of resolution and addendum bills of resolution? Okay. Paula, would you make the motion to remove the STOM contracting duplicated on the addendum bills for $50.96?
Yes, I make a motion to remove the STOM contracting duplicate entry on the addendum bills of resolution for $50.96.
Second.
Ben,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Tammy.
Yes.
Motion to approve is amended.
So
I'll
moved.
move. Second,
Marty,
Yes.
Tammy,
Abstain.
Matt,
Yes.
Paula,
yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Ben.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to legislation. Ordinance 2020-27. An ordinance amending various sections of the Streets, Utility, and Public Services Code of the Village of Mantua in order to permit proration of the monthly minimum and sewer charges and the monthly capital improvement charges and declaring an emergency. This is second reading. Any discussion?
Nope, none for me.
Not for me.
Would someone entertain a motion to suspend the rules?
I entertain a motion to suspend the rules.
Second,
Matt,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Marty,
yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Ben.
Yes.
I make a motion to approve
Second,
ordinance 2020-27.
And Ben seconded.
Second.
Okay. Ben,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Marty,
yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Tammy, abstain? Was that abstain?
Yeah, she shook her head no.
So was it a no or abstain?
You're on mute.
She said abstain.
Matt,
Yes.
Okay, Tammy, did you say abstain?
I did, and then my connection must have got
Okay, thank
crazy.
you. Just want to make sure it's clarified.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay.
You can probably guess what I'm going to say tonight. Yes.
We suspended the rules and we voted on it. Okay, so that one passed. Okay, ordinance 2020-30, an ordinance amending chapter 504 of the zoning ordinances of the Village of Manaway relating to the authority of the Planning Commission and the Board of Zoning Appeals to waive fees. This is second reading. Any discussion?
Only that this one and the next one, 31, both need a public hearing before they can be passed. And we don't even have 30 days between now and the next council meeting. So I think we'll have to set the public hearing for the October meeting.
Okay.
Plus, the next one was going to be reviewed by Planning Commission anyway, and planning is now tomorrow.
Right.
Yes. And my question is, it appears here, and did I make a bad emotion last time I said I wanted it to be reviewed by planning? Do we need to table it at this point until it comes back in a different, till they have made their assessment? Do we need to table it?
I don't think you need to table it because you have all those readings available. And because it'll be third reading next month, you could table it then, or you could table it now until October because it has to be on the agenda in October anyway because of the public hearing. So that's one way of approaching it.
Well, we can have a reading tonight, and then if there's any changes, it'll just be amended next month, right? And we can pass the amended legislation.
But you can't pass it until you've had your public hearing, and that can't be.
Right. Well, that's what I mean. But we can amend this if we need to amend this. We can.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Next month. Okay.
Okay.
Right, but this one did not, 2020-30 did not go back to planning. There was never a motion made for that one.
No, 31.
Right.
Yeah, the next one.
Right.
Okay, so we're on second reading. You guys can table it next month.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, moving on. Ordinance 2020-31, an ordinance amending chapter 610 of the zoning ordinances of the Village of Manaway relating to the site plan review submittal. This is second reading, and as we said when we were reading 30, this one was sent back to planning for review.
And planning's tomorrow night. So.
And the meeting's tomorrow night. Okay. Resolution 2020-34. a resolution declaring the official intent and reasonable expectation of the Village of Mantua on behalf of the state of Ohio, the borrower, to reimburse its Road and Bridge Fund 2012 for the Prospect Street Improvements Project number CT35X with the proceeds of tax exempt debt of the state of Ohio and declaring an emergency. So this is, we did not get an OPWC funding for this last year. And so we submitted to small government funding. And we did just receive that approval. So this is to proceed with West Prospect Street from Cemetery Drive to High Street to do paving and storm sewer repair. And there's a small portion, I think, if I recall, of sanitary lines that needed replaced in that area.
And so the 50,000 that we're looking at for this covers what? Is this the total bill for West Prospect?
It's 537. Number 34 is for $537,000 total on that. We have 150,000 in local, 50,000 in loan, and the grant was 387. Do I have that right? Yes. So it comes to $537,000.
Grant was 337.
I'm sorry, Jenny. I read the wrong line. 337. Yes. 337 with a loan of 50.
I wasn't really clear about the way that the title was written. Is this a reimbursing grant? Like, do we have to pay for everything up front and then get reimbursed? Or does it work like all the OPWC grants?
Rich, could you weigh in on this for us? Because last time we did Prospect Street, we had this same legislation and it was again for $50,000, but I think that's just for the loan part being financed by state bonds. Isn't that right?
Correct. That's correct.
So yes, we'll Jenny will still be submitting like we have been in the past.
Okay.
No one's answered Jenna's question yet. Do we have to put the money up front or can we match it later? Is it upfront money? Because I don't think we got it.
No, this is another in the series of many rounds of Ohio Public Works Commission. It's pay as you go. So we administer for you and we draw down the monies for engineering and construction as the project proceeds. So it's not like ODNR, it's not like a reimbursement.
That's not what Jenny asked. Jenny asked, do we have to come up with the money up front?
And Rich just said, no,
And
we
I
do not have
just
to
said-
come up with the money up front.
No.
Did you say that, Rich?
I think I did. It's pay as you go.
Just say yes or no.
Sorry, I mean,
You don't have to get into your explanations. God, I can't even hardly keep up with your explanations, Rich.
That's okay. That's okay. Sorry, I was using a term as pay as you go. So as you incur expenses in engineering and construction, we file for payment by the percentage of the grant. So we get that money, less the local share, of course.
Bernarda, you need to come here.
Jenny, you understand that now?
Yep.
Okay, great.
Thanks, Jenny.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Rich.
So that we can get the advertising done, so we can get the bid processing done.
Bernarda.
So that we can move forward on this to have the bids done before the end of, when we were going to do this, Rich, in October?
Yeah, so the plan here is not to try to get the street paving done by the end of this year. It's not in our interest to do a big project like this and rush it through.
Little green screen came up.
So what I've suggested to you and John is we developed a schedule, which we submitted to the Public Works Commission that said, what we'll do this fall is solicit our bids, finalize the plans, solicit the bids, review the bids, award a contract. My schedule calls for a contract to be awarded in October, your October council meeting, and that construction would start when the weather breaks in the spring. And we would do the work in the spring of 2021.
Thank you.
Yep.
Council, anyone have any more questions on 2020-34? Would someone entertain suspending the rules?
So moved.
Second.
Tammy? Tammy, I think you're muted.
Sorry. Yes.
Okay. Paula?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes.
Ben?
Yes.
Marty?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Scott?
Yes.
Ben?
Yes.
Marty?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes.
Paula?
Yes.
Tammy?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to Resolution 2020-35, a resolution authorizing CT Consultants to provide engineering services for the Prospect Street roadway drainage improvement phase 2 at the cost of $49,500. Open for discussion. This is a work authorization. They already have submitted one work authorization for $7,500 on this project. That was so that we could have it basically, my words, not Rich's, shovel ready, 100% ready to go when we applied for the small government grant. We have used 74 and change on that. And this is the balance. You'll notice if you, the total engineering on this part of the project is only $57,000 because part, and Ben was correct at finance, part of this was in phase 1 when I did checking. The surveying and such was included in phase 1 part of it. Any other questions?
Yes, I have, looking at the section 1 of this resolution. It has, it states the design work and so on, administrative assistance, the Reservoir Drive Reservoir Rehabilitation Project at a cost not to exceed $65,000. So I think that needs to be corrected.
Yes, it does. Anything else you caught on that, Paul? Thank you. Good catch.
That's what I caught. My one question that keeps throwing around in my head is, is it a requirement that our engineers do the all of the money processing with our loan groups? In other words, our village administrator, I would think, would be in a good position to kind of oversee the payments that are going back and forth between and how we work with the state or anybody else that we're getting these loan things from. And it would be good to keep it in-house, I would think. And so why isn't our village administrator more involved in that?
Because he's not an engineer and a design.
I didn't say anything about the design or the engineering. What I said is.
You're talking about the payout of it.
Correct.
When we pay it down.
Correct. And keeping that paperwork internally.
Right.
And tracking it internally.
Right. Well, the village administrator has never done that as far as I know. Brian has always assisted us because I did not understand it and Jenny didn't understand how to do the breakdown. And so they just usually mail us the form on the breakdown for all the expenses.
Just because it's always been done that way?
Well, yeah, I mean, it could be changed if you want somebody else to do it.
I would think that would be something worth keeping in-house to oversee. And having the village administrator be the person in between the state and what's going on internally with our funding would make sense, and take Brian out of that, from CT out of that picture.
That would be fine. John, how many more hours do you have in a day to give to the village with your full-time job?
The only difficult, you still have to deal with the engineering. They're still performing that service as far as they'd be there every day, and then I'd work with them when we do the payouts. Right now, they show me the payouts and when we do them. So, but the engineer does all the work and verifies construction.
Jenny, do you have any, I know at times when I was on finance, there were statements that, you know, we don't always get this information from Brian in a timely fashion. And if that's true, then maybe we do need to bring it back to our village administrator to be processing these payments and going in.
Well, and to add on to what Paula is saying, I use Brian because Brian is the one who has done it for so many years. Is Brian going to be in charge of this project, Rich, or is it going to be Gene Arters? Because I know that you've been pulling Brian back because he has so many bigger jobs that he's working on.
Well, basically to answer Paula's question, to John's point, what you typically do is hire your professional engineer to administer the construction, to review that the construction is done in conformance with the plans and specifications. We approve that the materials and everything that's built is per spec, and we pay the contractor for what he built that month. So we approve the pay estimate, then we get your sign-offs. I sign off on the pay estimate, whether it's Brian or anybody in the construction group. Everybody does this work. I sign off on it, and then you sign off on that pay app. Then, to Paul's question, is what we do is then file for the funding per the grant and the loan to OPWC, so the village gets the money. I'm not trying to deminimize it, but it's a relatively painless effort, particularly since we have it all set up in a spreadsheet as part of the pay apps, as part of the whole job. A $500,000 job is a big job. So that's how it's managed. But I don't disagree that if you want to take ownership and process that through OPWC and be the go-between, you can certainly do that. And we could provide you with the template, the spreadsheet, and then you track the dollars every month and then track how the grant is paid. We've been doing that for you. It's relatively painless, and we burden that in our fee. So either way, we could work either way.
Paula, I think you're muted.
No, I'm not muted. I'm
Oh.
just reaching for words, and it's just one of those things that I think as we move forward with the village, from a village perspective, maybe we do need to be more involved in some of this instead of leaving it to CT to do all of that. I'd hate to see, that we run into problems with the construction plans and so on, and then that hits us on the funding submittal with the state. Um, I don't know. I think we could pull it back.
Hey, Rich, just out of curiosity, what type of fee are we talking about for you to manage that for us?
That's the fee that's before you. This is a $537,000 project. The engineering portion of that is 57,000. You've already encumbered 7,500 with us to advance the surveying and preliminary design so that we could get full points to maximize the grant. Then we had a balance of 49. The request here today includes finishing the plans, handling the bidding process, the award documentation, the review of qualifications, managing the construction, on-site inspection throughout the job, close out the contracts, get all the paperwork. That's the 49.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't have a breakdown of what Brian costs to manage that part?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at. What's
Right. What's the breakdown?
49 or 60 grand or whatever. How much is basically are you charging for Brian's services to manage that portion for us?
I could give you that breakdown. I could break it down. So it depends. Most of the time is the construction duration. So during the duration of the construction, we will have an inspector on the job watching the work. That's probably at least $30,000 worth of time. We're looking at a job that's going to take maybe 5 months or so to build. And so we will have periodically, we will have a person on the job watching the construction and conforming. So that's the brunt of it. I couldn't tell you. The administrative part is doing the shop drawing reviews, the pre-construction meetings, reviewing the pay applications for conformance, processing the pay application. I mean, I could break it down further for you of that fee portion. It might be, I don't know, but I can get that to you.
That's cool. I was wondering if we're talking about peanuts or if it was some, pretty significant. That's all. Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Sure.
Well, my opinion is when we move forward with a new project, not one that's in the process of already, that's when we should consider this. Changing lanes in the middle of a project is not the time to do this.
I agree.
I agree.
I think we have to, though, start thinking about this seriously.
Absolutely.
And what the village administrator position, how are we pulling that person into managing some of these projects and going out for some of the grants and so on? Is that normally all managed with an engineer, or is that where we should be doing a little bit more of this ourselves? I think we seriously have to start thinking about this. And at what point, you've got the reservoir. The reservoir.
Okay, Paula.
That's been in the works for a long time. At what point do we start thinking about, we do need to start addressing some of this? And I'll put it out there.
Paula, I absolutely agree with you. We have a piece of legislation on the floor. This is something that can be discussed at service and finance and not when we're in the middle of legislation. I appreciate your concern and I really think it does need to be addressed if you feel that strongly about it. So back to any other questions regarding this piece of legislation? Would someone entertain a motion to suspend the rules?
So moved.
Second.
Tammy,
Yes.
Paula,
No.
Matt,
Yes.
Ben,
No.
Marty,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Okay, I guess it'll go second reading. Just remember, Ben, when this gets held up, you were one of the people that signed the thing to get your road done. Resolution
That way-
2020
Mayor, may I ask then, so we're not authorized to proceed?
You're not authorized to proceed, so the project is on hold.
Okay,
Yes. Resolution 2020-36, a resolution authorizing a contribution of $7,000 of the village's distribution of local coronavirus funding to the Mantua Shaler'sville Fire District and declaring an emergency. Open for discussion.
I would just add that I am
Can I
still
ask-
waiting. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, how much of the coronavirus funding did we get? And then what's the 7,000% of?
Okay, they gave us basically the same amount that we get from local government funding every year, which is about $64,000, $65,000 in that range. And so that's what they gave us to help us with the cost of the coronavirus. And so anything that is COVID related, we can spend that money on as long as it meets the criteria of the list of things. And so far we've been buying, we bought 5 ozone machines, a 55-gallon drum of some type of spray so they can spray the picnic tables and the benches and stuff, the sprayers to spray those. We've been getting, John is checking into getting video equipment that we'll have permanently so that if we have to continue on for much longer. Right now, Michelle handles this all from home. Michelle's fee, if Michelle was charging us a fee, just different things that are there. Lysol wipes, those kind of things. And so the fire department does not get any local government funds. And so the chief had reached out to myself and to the trustees for Mantua and Shaler'sville Township both. And they also agreed to give $7,000 of their money towards this to help the fire department replenish their things. But again, the fire department must tell us exactly what they're going to spend that $21,000 on to make sure that it is COVID related and it's on the list of eligible project or eligible funds.
Yep, and just to, I'm gonna say, just to add to what the mayor said, I'm on the fire board and I was there last Monday. And when we discussed all this, and I had asked the fire chief to compile a list, a wish list, if you will, of the items that he was considering, and he's going to put it together for me. And he's aware of the framework with which Jenny has to work, and so he knows what to do there. So I'm just waiting for that. I'll send it to everybody on council once I receive that from him.
Okay, thank you. I just need to understand.
Yes, and the one thing on the exhibit B that is a part of this resolution is it's a checklist, and it appears that somebody at our end has to be filling that out with yeas or nays. Because we need something, I would assume that we need to have something like that checklist on file. And after kind of looking quickly at the website, it sort of balances with some of the federal regulations. So is somebody responsible for that?
Right. Paula, you're exactly right. This checklist is based off the federal regulations that have to be followed in order to track the use of this money. The fire district will be treated as a subrecipient.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that since the clerk treasurer is the one who's going to probably be the liaison, I think that she would have to work with the clerk of the fire board to make sure that everything on the list is an appropriate expenditure, just like she would before authorizing something within the village to be spent.
Okay, so in some ways I'm hearing that maybe we'll have kind of a double take on this, because Matt, since he's on the fire board, will also be aware of what's they're spending the money on. And then Jenny and the clerk treasurer for the fire board will have to come to terms. So there's sort of a cross section here of reviews is what I'm hearing.
Checks and balances, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions on that? Would someone entertain a motion to suspend the rules?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Ben,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Tammy.
Yes.
Motion to approve.
So
Matt,
moved.
that's you, buddy. Matt needed to approve that.
Yep. So moved.
Second.
Okay. Tammy,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Ben.
Yes.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Tell them thank you.
For all they do. Ordinance 2020-37, an ordinance approving the recodification and editing and inclusion of certain ordinances as part of the various component codes of the codified ordinances of the Village of Mantua and declaring an emergency. Any discussion?
Could that title be any clearer?
It doesn't usually include any of the zoning stuff, though.
This is something we do every year, Tammy.
Okay. Thank you.
We pass ordinances and then we have to put them in the book. And this company, Crane, they put it in the book. That's what this is. That happens every year.
Got it.
Housekeeping.
And what you have to do is, because it doesn't get put in the book only once a year, you got to make sure you keep that copy so you're reminding yourself something was changed. So, would someone entertain a motion to suspend the rules?
So moved.
Second.
Matt,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Ben.
Yes.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Ben,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
Matt.
Yes.
Thank you. Resolution 2020-38. A resolution authorizing the clerk of the Village of Mantua to certify delinquent water and sewer charges to the Portage County Auditor's Office to be placed as an assessment on the listed parcel numbers and declaring an emergency. This is something we started doing a few years ago. The residents are sent letters that they needed to contact the administrative assistant who does the billing to get on a firm payment plan, or we would assess their taxes. And so you're probably a little familiar with this from when your previous job, yeah. So we have a list here of who has not contacted us to be put on a payment plan. So open for discussion. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Sincere.
And this is, hey, Linda, this is past the COVID, right?
I'm sorry?
Didn't they put a freeze on that for the pandemic for a little bit? I mean, we're past that, right?
We still are not shutting anyone off. We are still
Right.
assessing late fees. That
Okay.
doesn't have anything to do with this legislation.
Okay. All right.
Service is going to have to address whether or not it's time to start shutting people off. at
Okay.
the next meeting and putting the late fees back on.
Okay.
Do we have amendments? I mean, are any of these people off the list?
No, not yet.
Wow.
Holy mackerel.
This list was current as of Friday afternoon with Mary Ann, and I haven't received any more information that anybody else has paid. So as far as I know, this is the list.
She gave me a huge deposit yesterday.
Michelle, didn't we say that this didn't have to be to the auditor's office until like September 7th or 8th or something like that?
Yeah, I think it's around about the first week of September.
The
But if we're
second
gonna,
Monday.
it's the second Monday, right? So if we're going to be amending it though, don't we need to have a special meeting? No, I guess you can, let's see. We
Do
can,
amend it in service? The
no,
week
we can add a
before?
provision that the village administrator has authority to strike off anybody who pays between now and the filing deadline. Do you want to add that as a
Absolutely.
section?
Absolutely.
That can be done.
Yeah.
Motion to amend is what Michelle just said.
Second,
Paula,
Yes.
Marty,
yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes. Mayor, we're gonna need to suspend the rules to get this over there, right, for September?
Well, so we did the motion to amend it, so now we need a motion to suspend the rules, yes.
So moved.
Second,
Scott,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
Marty,
yes.
Paula.
Yes.
Motion to approve as amended.
So moved.
Second,
Tammy,
Yes.
Marty,
yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Okay. That was the last piece. So moving on to, if we can let Rich go first, I mean, he's been popping in and
Yeah.
out because of his grandson's birthday party.
You'll excuse me for a minute, carry on.
I would like to say something before you start, Rich.
Sure.
I'm probably out of line and I may end up apologizing for it. You have worked very hard for this village for many, many years. And I feel that the way that this council has been treating you as if there's some kind of a vendetta against you personally for everything that you do for this community and working with us. And I think that some of my council people are way out of line to verbally attack and question your integrity on this. So if you'd like to give your report, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. Good evening, Council. You have my written report. What's coming up is another round Ohio Public Works. So my suggestion to you was to consider the capital planning list that I've published and updated for 2021 for consideration and service. The pre-applications for round 35 are due September the 15th. They gave us a very short window to submit for those applications. So it's just food for thought to look at in service. There's obviously a lot to consider, particularly with the number of projects that are still out there and on the table. The two projects that will be under construction, Buchert Park Trail Phase 2. The contractor has indicated construction start the first week of September. And for Orchard Street, well, we had some hiccups with the paperwork. It's finally in. So I'll update the mayor and John, and we'll hear from the contractor on the start of the Orchard Street widening. Hopefully that comes very soon for us. The other thing I would like to mention that's, again, in my report, but just to highlight that for a consideration of service, I'd like to overview the options that our design team looked at for the location and design and siting for the reservoir tank replacement. A lot of detail to go through, and it's better done in service with screen share and be able to show you some exhibits that would be very helpful there.
So
Again,
can you come to the next service meeting?
Yeah. Let me know when the
Okay.
date is. And yep,
Okay.
glad to.
It'll be September 1st.
Oh, will, okay. Okay, so, well, wherever I am at the time, we've got a grandson due the 1st of September in Maryland, which is where I'm at today. So I apologize, I'm running in and out of here. So,
okay.
Yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, especially with the quarantine. So there's the two project construction, and then obviously we have the delay on Prospect Street Phase 2. So we have the plans, at 99% complete. So what we're hopeful of doing is proceeding with getting this job bid, especially in the fall. So whatever you end up doing, please keep that in mind. This is the opportune time to get a good competitive bid for contractors to start work in the spring. So, so with that delay, we will not proceed with finalizing those plans and specs, which we have, again, 99% complete. And that's all I had. Open to any questions.
Okay, thank you, Rich.
Thank you,
Ma'am.
Rich.
Look, thanks, Rich.
Tell Michelle, thank you for letting you join us.
I appreciate it. Thanks. Have a good evening, all.
Have some crab for us.
Two.
Bye now.
See you, Rich.
Okay, Chief?
Good evening, Mayor, Council, everybody. Just a couple things. We did not have a council meeting in August. Couple things to bring up. Our cleaning person who was cleaning the building has gotten a new full-time job, and it's very time consuming. So this coming week will be her last time for cleaning. So we thought we had a couple potential candidates that has fallen through. So if anybody knows anybody that would be willing to do that, I do have the job description. It would have to go through the background checks, same as one of our employees, because they'll be exposed to sensitive and confidential information when they're in dispatch. So they'll need fingerprinted and all of that. So if anybody knows anybody, refer them, come on down, fill out an application. We'll go through that. We did, since we didn't have a meeting last week, we did swear in a new auxiliary officer, Nathan Boston. He's full-time at UH up in Cleveland. He lives in the area. And he wants to get a little bit of road time. He has a lot of experience, has a bachelor's in criminal justice, so he'll be able to help us with some training. So we swore him in. He's going to start his training either tomorrow or next Wednesday. I will need a couple of motions. Last year we had talked about our firewall was going to come to end of life in 2020 in September, and we are almost there. So we went ahead and we upgraded our firewall. It's ordered, it'll come in, and TAC will put that in. So the total amount is $4,189.10, and it's over $3,000. I need a motion, and I need to bring that to council and get that approved, please.
So moved. Second.
Scott,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Ben.
Yes.
Hey, Joe, how much was that again?
4189.10.
Gotcha. Thanks.
The other thing is we applied for and did receive a JAG grant. It's a 90% grant. We asked for 4 new MDTs for the cars. We got 1. So the total on that is $3,751.21. We have to pay that, and then we'll apply to get the 90% back. So it'll end up costing us around $400. So I'll need a motion to go ahead and pay TAC to be able to get reimbursed. So I need a motion for $3,751.21, please.
So moved.
Second.
Tammy,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Just one thing, don't know, some of the residents may not have even known happened, and I'll let John get into more of that. We had a little bit of an incident on Friday where a sensor or a detector or something went to the water plant, and it kind of brought us to realize about our training. The alarm was for a high chlorine gas, I believe, was it? John can talk more about that. The bottom line is the officer responded, did the right things, got the fire department, we called hazmat and all that. I, along with the fire chief, we did learn some things. So we're going to be discussing that a little bit further, and I'll bring it up at safety. We've come up where what we used to do might not be as the way we should be doing it. So we've kind of broadened our horizons as far as an action plan if we were to have that happen again in the future. So we're working on some safety things there about where we would stage people and where we would block some stuff off. So we learned some things. Fortunately, it was no actual incident. It was luckily just a technical difficulty with some equipment. Other than that, the only thing I have is our next safety meeting is tentatively scheduled for Wednesday, September 2nd at 6 p.m. And that's all that I have unless somebody has questions.
I don't have a question, but I got something to say about it. When it comes to chlorine, be careful because that stuff will eat you alive.
And that's, I had a lengthy conversation, Ben, yesterday with the fire chief, and we reviewed what had happened Friday in the process, what his piece of it was, what my officer's piece of it was, and how we can just get better. He educated me on chlorine gas a little bit.
Dangerous stuff.
Yep. So I took the other test, but that's why I'm letting their expertise, and he spoke with the hazmat guys. And so that's why we've come up with let's get better and let's do things a little bit different in the future for our safety.
I was on a water job in Perrysburg, Ohio, and they have to test the lines when they put a new line in, and they clear the lines with chlorine. They got a rabbit in there, and they couldn't clear the lines, open the lines up so they could get the water on down the line. So they filled it full of chlorine, and it ate that rabbit and the hair and everything up, and there was nothing left after it was done.
I can believe it. And so given the seriousness, we did review how we have done things in the past, and we've come up with a contingency plan to be more proactive and cautious in the future.
Hey, Joe, if you put that on paper, or when you put it on paper, can you pass that along to the service department? So Matt and I can kind of look at it and go over
Sure.
it again? I mean,
Yeah,
just so we're aware of what's going on.
Yeah, I've put out a quick directive to the officers on what we're going to do right now. And then long term, yeah, we're going to come up with probably a nice little procedure and then like a flow chart or something like that, working with the fire department on what we can do.
Okay, yeah, if you could pass that along, just so the service department can look at it and,
Yep,
you know,
absolutely.
just so we see what you're doing, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, Chief, real quick, I just got a couple of quick questions. I'm checking out the monthly report here. And
okay.
I'm just asking these, like, I'm just trying to like better get my finger on the pulse of the community and society, you know? So I'm just looking here, I see some of these numbers have really like skyrocketed over, year to year from last year. You mentioned alarm, and I saw like 4 things. I was going to ask about 4 things. The first one's alarm drop. 44 already this year versus 30 last year, all of last year. Like, what's an alarm drop?
An alarm drop is when a business in our village, if they get an alarm.
Yeah.
Probably, I would probably say 75% of those are Crestwood schools.
Okay.
They upgrading their alarm system, and they had motion sensors. They had windows open. If something blows down in the hallway, it sets off a motion. We go, we walk, and we check the building.
Okay.
Get that problem fixed. But the first part of after March and then throughout the summer, when they start putting a lot of stuff in the hallways, when they're cleaning, remodeling the rooms and stuff, we were getting some 1 and 2. And so finally they got a hold of their company, and a lot of that was fixed.
That's cool.
But that's alarm drops. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just a couple more that just stand out. Assist, 95 this year versus 66 last year. Like, what's an assist?
The assist is assist other agencies. I will tell you probably 80 to 85% of that's with the sheriff's office. Domestics in the township and in the surrounding communities have skyrocketed since COVID. Everybody's stuck at home. People getting irritable. We did see a huge increase in domestics. Fortunately, we only had 2 in the village since all this started. But we spent a lot of time helping the sheriff's office out.
Yeah, sure. That's cool. 2 more quick ones. Property damage, 6 this year versus 3 last year. That's kind of.
Well, part of that was we had a couple crashes in town that we didn't have last year. The other damage is the property damage. We had 1 car go off the road and take out some signs. It's really not a high number considering we have almost 10,000 cars come through the village a day.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
It just fluctuates. When back in March and April, we probably didn't have any because that's when everybody was banned. Once they opened the gates up a little bit and let people start driving, everybody thought it was like heyday. It was like Black Friday, and all of a sudden everybody was in a big hurry to go nowhere.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, like I said, I'm just trying to understand, And the last one here is suspicious person vehicle, 11 already this year versus 5 last year.
We're trying to, we know that with people not working, times are tough. We're trying to be proactive. We encourage our residents, if you see something, say something. We'd rather go out and check out something and it be nothing than for them not to say anything and find out that it is something. So We've got calls where it is justified. There's a suspicious vehicle down at the park. Well, it's somebody just killing time. They want to social distance. They want to go down by where they launched the kayaks, and they just want to have their lunch there. But we get a phone call. Any call we get, we go.
Yeah,
so
sure.
Justified. It's not necessarily that anybody was charged out of that.
Yeah.
But I kind of respect that they're taking the time to call, that people are taking a notice. Like I said, those are the kind of calls. I'd rather go on those calls and find out that it's nothing than for somebody to regret not calling and then find out that they should have, and we end up with an incident.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. Actually, that's going to be like some of my commentary after that, and then see something, say something for sure. That's cool.
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, I just want to get your take on some of these. Like I said, the numbers compared to last year are really high. On a few of these, but cool.
And next year it may be totally the other way. It's hit or miss.
Yeah, sure. All right, cool. Thank you for your time.
Yep, you're welcome. Anybody else? Okay, Mayor, that's all that I have.
Thank you. John True, Village Administrator.
Yes, currently we are interviewing for 2 part-time employees right now. We get 2 applications we'll be looking at this week, and we'll see what we're going to do with that. Also, getting ready to sign the paperwork that Rich sent me for the 44 intersection project on Orchard. Once we get that done, we don't have the color printers. So once we sort that out, we get that done in a day or 2. We'll get that straightened out and that paperwork back to him, and we'll go from there. Most importantly, that chlorine gas leak. When I got the call, I was very, very concerned. That is on the project after we do reservoir and everything else. That is one of the projects. We're going to change that out to actually hypochlorite, why it gives you more of a, there's more cost to do the operations, but liquid chlorine is not like chlorine gas. If you're not familiar with chlorine gas, what it does, if it enters your lungs, well, what happens once chlorine gas would enter your lungs, and that's why they have to evacuate the area and everything else with the EMA. I'm on the EMA board too. But what happens, that chlorine will mix with the water in your lungs and create hydrochloric acid within your body. So it's very, very dangerous. I do not want to see a leak down there. I would recommend that we do strongly look into getting that hyperchlorate we use instead of chlorine gas and get that switched over. This time it was just a sensor. There was no leak at all. That's why there's no report to the EPA. It's just a sensor malfunction. But before we have something like that, let's I strongly urge that we get rid of that chlorine gas and do it the way the plants do it, Portage County and usually the rest of the communities. That's about all I have for right now.
Okay. Scott, service and planning?
Planning, we did not have a meeting. We're going to have that tomorrow night.
Oh, that's right.
So yeah, there you go. Service was pretty quick. We discussed, well, John, we discussed the COVID-19 funds, what John and Joe are kind of putting together for the village. And I get Matt and I gave them our 2 cents, what we were thinking, you know, we might be able to use. We went over we have a problem with Ohio Edison and our banners and flags on all the flagpoles, one of the problems, but we're working through that. We haven't signed an agreement with them to say that we can hang stuff on their poles. So that's an issue. We got a quote to do the mausoleum doors down at the cemetery. And we need to finish that up. We still have some money hanging out there. We were supposed to remodel or revamp the mausoleum. The last thing to do is replace the doors. In your packet, you will have a quote from Pinnacle Restoration. That is to raise and straighten some of those old headstones down in the cemetery. Some of those real big ones that, I mean, there's nothing to do with them, but let these guys take care. It's a company that's what they do. They come in and straighten these old headstones. So we're thinking that's a really good idea that we need to take care of. We went over the phase 2 West Prospect with, CT had sent us the paperwork. So we discussed that a little bit and decided to, bring that on to council. And a chipper. John's looking into buying the village a new chipper because we seem to have a lot of problems with the old one, and we're spending, time and money to fix it. So we're kind of waiting on you, John, to bring a quote to council, I guess, or bring a firm quote to service, and we'll kick it up to council. So when you figure out what you want, but we're thinking that's probably a pretty good idea. And that's it. And like I said, we didn't have planning. So on that note, Tammy will be sitting on planning for Dave. So we have a planning meeting tomorrow at Town Hall. We do it. Yes, we do it at Town Hall. So bring a mask. And yeah, that'll be your first planning meeting at 6:30. Okay.
Got it.
And that was it. That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, I apologize, Scott. I missed what you said that John was getting you prices on because I had an emergency call from my sister.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was the chipper. We were talking about the chipper.
Okay.
That was it. That was all.
Okay, thank you.
Pinnacle, are you going to vote to approve that since it's 4,500?
For Pinnacle?
Yeah.
I would like to do that if we could, please. If council is in, did everybody get the opportunity to look at that?
Okay, Pinnacle is for the headstones.
Right.
The doors is that Botsum. Botsum was $3,830 or something like that.
I have Botsum right here. Botsum was. 3730.
I was close.
Botsam was 3730 if we used option 2.
Right. They're going to go with option 1, but I think John made the purchase order for the higher amount in case there were some extra
Yes.
expenses that we weren't aware of. And
Correct.
the trust has already paid us $4,000 for that project back in 2014. So we've been hanging with that for that long.
Right. So we really, I mean, we have the money.
We need a motion on that because it was already approved.
Right.
$4,000.
We would just need a motion on Pinnacle
Just on
to
Pinnacle.
straighten the headstones. Yeah. The mausoleum doors we approved and we have the money for already. So.
And if we approve the straightening of the headstones, then we ask for reimbursement for that next year when we ask for cemetery funds?
No, because it's not for the Thompsons. You should only ask the trust for things that benefit the whole Thompson.
I know that. I'm just asking, is it some way?
I suppose you could ask for it, but you need to say why.
We've asked for things that weren't part of the Thompson Trust before. But that's fine. That's fine. I just wanted to know.
Well, I just want to make sure everybody got the opportunity to read that quote. Paula, did you see that?
I did. I just wondered about, at the very bottom, there's the municipality/cemetery to provide number 8 limestone. So we just need to take it and dump it in one place?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
They are also going to give the Dave and Vern training on how to do the smaller ones.
I'm sorry. I forgot to mention that, Linda. Yes. They're going to let our guys watch them do the large ones and then show them how to do the little ones so we can do those ourselves. So.
Okay. So you want a motion for the $4,500?
I do. If everybody has had the opportunity and everybody's in agreement, I would love to vote on this tonight if we can, please.
I move that we approve the Pinnacle Monument leveling and restoration for $4,500.
Second.
Thank you, Paula.
Mm-hmm.
Tammy,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Anything else, Scott?
No, I want to say thanks. I mean, we get the mausoleum done and we get the headstone straight. We're golden down there. We're looking really good. So that'll be nice. Thank you.
Okay, Marty, Parks and Shade Tree.
Parks and Shade Tree will not meet tomorrow. So we did all our voting for a shade tree. Did a lot of laughing.
Yes, we did.
And we'll meet in September.
Okay, new and other business. John and I have been working on some estimates for the work on Canada Road, and we have a couple different options. I got one from Todd Lamb, who said that he would start at the easterly end of Canada Road, the township line, where there is practically no asphalt at all. It's just dirt, and that he would lay hot mix into the severely damaged area and roll it, and then scratch pave the entire road with a 448 asphalt, and finally put 1.5 inches of 448 -1 limestone hot mix asphalt and seal the old edges and the new edges. Now, because of the condition of that road, which we all know is pretty bad,
Right.
this quote is for 800 feet to start. He said to me, how much money do you have? And I said, without speaking to Jenny, and I have since spoken to Jenny, I said I would feel comfortable asking council for $20,000 of our road levy money, because we might need $150,000 for West Prospect Street if we ever approve the work authorization for CT. So Jenny did some checking and stuff on her figures, and she can email everybody. And John, have you had a chance to look at what she sent us?
Yes, I reviewed it. It looks good.
So she felt that we could come up with about $80,000, which would mean what Todd had recommended was do about $20,000 of work every year for the next 4 years to get the road done. And so and John felt that we could probably just chip and seal the road. I spoke with Henry Lulai, and they came out, and he said that they would have to do, and John, I don't understand all this terminology, they would do a leveling course of the whole road, about 1.5 inches of that for $58,000, and then chip and seal with a heavy polymer for an additional 20. So that whole project would come out to $78,000. Well, if we go with doing the whole thing, we have to bid it out. So I don't know if you guys, how you want us to have John put out a bid packet for this to get Canada Road done, or you want to just do $20,000 for the next 4 years to get it done, or maybe 1,600 feet and do 40,000 for the next 2 years to get it done. That way we're not cutting ourselves too much.
Is that feasible? Is the 40,000 stretching us thin, or? I would rather see that happen, honestly.
Right.
I mean, if it were me.
I would like to make one statement. Having lived on Canada Road for a long time, there are parts of it that are always being impacted. And it's around the curve east of Jenny, at the bottom of the hill near Chuck Engelhart. That's a bad spot.
Yep, that's wet dirt.
And then up on kind of the hill by Wilson's is another bad spot. And those have always had repairs and repairs and repairs and filling and so on and so on. There's something going on that just paving it is not going to address it all. And I think we need to kind of consider trying to do some, well, if it was on my property, I would be calling them French drains, but we would have to do some kind of a culvert drain there, because it's got to be able to handle traffic, and try to figure out where some of those springs are that are causing the underlying water to come in and every winter erode it. And this has been going on for, I don't know, I'm 71 and I've lived here all my whole.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to just throw the money away, I guess is what I'm getting at.
That kind of base repair you're talking about, Paula, is going to be rather expensive. I'm not, you're right. If it got water damage and water causing the damage, it's got to be fixed or it's going to continue, and which it has, and you're right. So, but that's going to be expensive to fix that. So I'm not saying not do it. What I'm saying is you got to consider that.
Yeah.
And you got to add that into the cost. Because if you come in this year and you repair it, and then over the winter it blows out again, then you got to come back in again. It's pretty soon it's costing more than what it would be to repair it. And I'm sure the engineer and John, they know that too. You got to cut the water loose somehow or another, or it's going to continue.
Yeah, and opening up the ditches that's going to help, but it's not that's going to be a big help, but it's not the end all. You gotta have some way of draining some of that underlying spring water and not having it go back in and blowing out the surface above.
I've actually seen them put pipe on it and run the pipe down there and let it run out like that, run over there. Because if it's spring, it ain't gonna quit.
No.
I have actually seen them take plastic pipe, put it in the spring with a point on it, and let the water run out. But anyway,
and I know that in the last year, yeah, we did kind of the French drains in the property where my pasture was, and at the along the side of the Oil Well Drive, which is just, what would that be? Just west of Ellie's house. And we put those drains in and we took them over to the creek. And it has made a tremendous difference. And we hadn't been able to get in there and do any mowing along the Oil Well Drive because of all of the spring and the waters that were there. I really think, I hate to see us, I know I want Canada Road tended to, but I don't want to throw the money away either. So I thank you for looking into it, Mayor.
Okay, well, we will just, I guess, put it on hold. Is that what everybody wants to do? Until we find an engineer that would keep all of council happy to look at it.
Well, do the best job you can at the best price you can. That's what needs to be done.
I'm sorry, Ben, I can't understand what you're saying.
I said, do the best job you can at the best price you can. That's all I said.
So you want to proceed?
No.
Oh.
I think, no, Paul is right. I mean, have somebody else look into it.
I think at least give us a little bit of time. This just hit us tonight. Give us a little time to think it through and settle it in our heads before we say go ahead with something. We can talk it over in service.
Well, I apologize because you had asked in May and John had said we would get it done this summer. And so we're trying to move forward at your request.
Oh, well, I brought it up yes. And it was the first time in how many years have I been on council that I brought it up finally.
Okay.
But yes, we do need to think about it. Absolutely. But I don't want to rush into it.
Okay.
As the new person, I can't see spending 20 a year knowing we have issues on Canada Road. Because just if you do 200 feet this year, is that 200 feet still going to be good at your
800? It was 800 feet. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Well, wasn't it? But it's 800 total, right? But 200 feet a year, or 800?
800 feet for.
It's 800 feet a year for about $20,000.
Yeah, and what I do want to bring up that it's been, when I talked to Chuck Engelhart, he moved in a little over 20 years ago, and he said, that was the last time the whole road was attended to. And I know they did the chip and seal, what would that have been, about 5 years ago on part of it?
Mm-hmm.
And it is a mess. And they only took it from the top of the second hill, the top of the eastern hill, down to basically where the county line is. And they have had to go in there and do so much patching. And at that point, when I think it was the school system who called and complained that their buses were being torn apart on our road, that they finally did the chip and seal. So
John and I will do some more investigating. You come up with an engineer that you would like us to contact, and we'll see if council wants to hire him.
We'll kick it around in service too.
Scott, sometimes the paving company do design and construction both.
thank you. Thank you, Ben. I think we do have some wherewithal, even with some of the paving companies or with our own internal street people and village administrator, to kind of assess some of this.
Right, and that's why I got the information for John to review.
Okay,
We'll discuss it at service.
Yeah, let's talk about it, sir. Matt, you good with that?
Yep, I'm good with
Let's
that.
try to brainstorm at service and see if we can come up with something, all right?
Yep, for sure.
Okay.
Okay, Ben, finance?
Jenny went over that. I've got nothing unless someone has a question. We went over the legislation, we went over the financial records as normal thing, so we've already gone over the legislation, and Jenny went over the financial report. So I have nothing else to add unless someone has a question.
Okay, Paula, Portage County Regional Planning and Safety. And Paula, remind me, Todd Peets had called me the other day too, when you're done.
okay. Portage County Regional Planning, I did not attend because I was on vacation, but I did look over the minutes and what they were going to be reviewing. And it is amazing how much Portage County Regional Planning has been working with some of the local townships and villages to get them grant monies and using their TAs, which I believe stand for technical assistance. And since we are part of regional planning, the village submits and has TA hours that we have really not used. And that's another source for us to consider for some of the grants. Wyndham has been getting a lot of assistance in sidewalks and tearing down buildings and so on. And so I would like to, and I will print off some of the information they gave us about the grants that are upcoming and available, and you can get an idea for what's been used by other communities, other areas.
Yes, we've always, whenever they have a grant ready, they have done a grant for us before. They did one with Portage Parks for us at one time. I think we get about 40 or 50 TA hours a year. Now, the last time we used them, I'm sorry, Jenny, how many is it?
60.
60. Last time we used them is when we were doing the census last year. We used TA hours for that. They were going to bill us for anything over
right.
$dollar amount. That was last August or September when we.
For the census?
Huh?
I thought the census was just starting.
That's when we did the mailings to everyone, and then had the people going door to door.
Mm-hmm.
LMI survey.
LMI.
Okay, LMI.
Right.
And a lot of the LMI was done gratis by some of the residents and some of the non-residents.
Correct.
So regional planning, we didn't use a lot of the TA hours for that.
Well, they did all the mail. They supplied all the paper and the mailing and stuff. We just did the postage.
Okay. That's all I have to report on. There was no safety meeting.
Linda, you're muted.
Yeah, I can see her lips moving, but no words.
Oh, okay. Todd had called me last week about a grant that he was working on with Manaway Township. It's called a Manaway Community Grant, where Manaway Township would be having drive-by tours of historic homes. And he was going to, he wondered about walking tours within the village, and he was going to get me paperwork on it, on exactly how it worked. And I have not heard back from him yet. Paula, do you know anything about that? Was that in your minutes?
I did talk to Todd last week, and he had brought that up, and I'd indicated that the Landmarks Committee has done some walking tours, and so we've got kind of a foundation bit there, but yes, it would be very good if we could put more together for that. And it's not just a written pamphlet they're looking for, but something that would be more of a verbal app that people could use as they're driving around the area, was the impression I got from talking to Todd last week.
Well, he did want a copy of the brochure that we had done. I didn't have a copy here in my office. I was gonna check down in the hallway to see if there was something. I don't know if you were Tumas or
We probably got one. Well, it's probably in our storage. Never mind.
okay.
But Nick Ayler did a beautiful walking tour with and explaining the buildings on part of Prospect Street that we were going by, giving architectural review and so on. And I think this would be something that Landmarks could be involved with. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, new and other business. I do want to step back to the chipper, Scott.
Okay.
Because John had a quote, correct, John? You had a quote from DAS for government chipper that was
yes, a $30,000 quote.
Chipper and stuff.
That's correct.
So you had given us a price of $30-some thousand. I don't have my minutes in front of me, my draft minutes from service. Was that, Scott said we would discuss that again at service and wait another month, or do you want to make a motion to have John proceed with ordering that?
Well, John, can you explain to everybody, since nobody knows about it? Can you explain to them?
Yeah, well, without you having the paperwork, I apologize, but I thought it was going to next service. What it is, it's a gas chipper instead of a diesel, because the gas has more power, has all the safety features and bars in the chipper itself, so somebody can't get caught. Right now, part of our problem with our chipper is you can't get caught in there, and this one will take up to almost 12 inches for rating the chipper. It'll help them. The process will be much cleaner, much quicker, and people won't be getting hurt while they're working on this chipper. If you've ever run a chipper, which some of you have, it cuts the arms, tears them up and everything else. And this newer one through Vermeer and it's through the state purchasing program. It's $30,000 to last the village quite a while, this new one. We're going to continue the service. I do recommend we do get a new chipper for somebody gets hurt.
My question is, where's the money coming from?
Well, Jenny, do you have your list, Jenny, or you want me to read what you sent us?
I thought that we could probably get 10,000 out of the capital projects fund. And I think the rest we could get from unappropriated general fund monies. Since tree care is general fund.
Is the chipper something that we could also approach the cemetery trust on, Thompson Cemetery Trust Fund? Because they do some chipping there, I'm sure.
No, they don't.
None at all?
Very rarely, very rarely. Anytime we have a tree taken down, it's usually, I'm not going to say we never do a tree, but it's usually a contractor comes in like Veneer just did, and they chip and clean up all of it.
Okay.
The last time I know of a tree that we took down at the cemetery was they cut it down and they piled up the brush and they set it on fire and burned it. So.
And is this one that you've passed by Dave and Vern, who, since they're the ones that will have to be using it, John? And
This actually came from Dave.
from Dave?
I had
Okay.
Dave, I talked to him about it, and he secured the actual quote.
Oh. Good.
What's the lead time on delivery of something like that? Like once you place the order, how quickly before it's delivered?
I'm sure they have these in stock, but I have to check. Usually sometimes 6 weeks or so to get it this year, but they should have some in stock being this COVID environment.
Yeah, sure. That's what I was thinking about if we're able to procure it this year.
Well, if Jenny thinks that we can pull the money together, I think we should do it. I mean, it seems like we're spending a lot of money working on the old one. And we're spending man hours. And I mean, if it's that dangerous, we really don't want that going on.
So then are you making a motion?
Well, you guys, nobody got to see any paperwork. So that's why I want everybody to think about it. I mean, that's why I wanted John to tell you about it. I don't want to put you on the spot, Paul. I want
no.
I want everybody to be able to, kind of soak it in for a minute before we,
Yeah.
And you weren't at you weren't at service either, so you didn't get to discuss it with us. So I mean, you didn't know about it. So.
Well, I know we do need a chipper.
Yeah.
And if the guys who are going to be responsible for using it and maintaining it have had an input on the selection, then I'm willing to go along with it.
Okay. Then, I mean, if everybody's good with it, I'll second that motion.
Yep.
Okay, Ben?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Paula?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes, absolutely.
Tammy?
Yes.
Marty?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, do we need to discuss where those funds are coming from, or we're gonna roll with what you and Jenny just told us?
We're gonna have to roll where she said it was gonna come from.
Yeah, and the dollar amount for the motion is $30,321.
Should we make it 31 just in case there's something else involved
Sure.
that we're not aware of?
You want another motion on that?
Well, she's going to include it all in the motion, the price.
Okay.
So we're gonna make it 31,000.
Up to 31,000.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So John, if there's a delivery fee, you have to go get it yourself.
We can do that with no problem. We'll do it gladly.
Yeah.
I was kidding.
And it did come up at finance about, remember in March when the COVID hit, we decided not to do any type of raises at that time till we saw where our finances were going. And it was brought up at finance that we've waited long enough, and Jenny, the report that Jenny gave us, like she said, even tonight, I mean, we're a little bit low in some places, but it hasn't impacted us greatly yet. And since that time, the chief and John have submitted to me raises ranging from 2.5% to 3.5% that I approved, and they're all within the range of the pay scale.
Very good.
Very good. Yeah, very good.
And I think those have all been submitted to Jenny already, haven't they?
Yes.
Okay.
Very good.
And so since you guys didn't approve the work authorization for CT, and that's going to be on hold for 3 readings now. Would somebody like to volunteer to call the people that all signed the petition to get this project going? And now that you've put it on hold, and let them know that it's on hold again until this is approved?
You're talking about the West Prospect Street? Well, I think that based on the timeline he had in here, that it was going to go through, he was going to do some work on September, have it ready for October bid, and start the work in March.
Right.
So even if we have not, we've gone by this reading, still we have another reading or two coming up, which we could do as an emergency, which, yes, your September and October dates are going to be changed, but it may not throw off the March start date. So I'm not sure we need to contact them at this point.
Okay, if that's what you think.
Ben, what do you think? You're down on that end.
I agree with you.
Some of the contractors will be shutting down if, who knows what the winter brings, so. But that's fine. It's you guys' vote to hold it up. Okay. Is there anything else that has to come before council?
No, but I got a question for Paula.
Yes.
Is that a geode back there on that table?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Wow. Wow. Good eye.
That's it. I was just asking.
Okay. Okay.
Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Matt,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Ben.
Yes.
All right.